Welcome to the Financial Coaches Podcast, where we talk about how to build your practice from startup to scale up while being the kind of coach your clients crave. Finally, a podcast for financial coaches. Here are your hosts, Maria Casillas and Cody Sizemore.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Financial Coaches Podcast. I'm Maria Casillas, joined here by Cody Sizemore, and we are in for an incredible episode, which is going to be a part 2 from last week. Now, last week we started talking about just online events, why they're important, how to maybe structure them, what our clients can get from them, but we didn't really have an opportunity to go into some of the details about what we're going to do in order to get people in the seats. We want butts in the seats so that we can then turn those butts into clients and have some really good conversations around that. And I think there's also some, I'm going to use the really sophisticated word, doodads, that we need to figure out how to get those things in place. So we want to get a funnel going and we want to understand some of the specifics around that. Now, some of you who are listening today are old hats at this. You know exactly what we're talking about. And hopefully we can just throw a little bit of nuance and you can take what you know and turn it into how to create a really great online event. Some of you may have never heard of some of these things. If you're just getting started or you're actually just an aspiring coach right now, maybe you don't know what a CRM is. And so Cody's going to join us today and just really kind of dig deep and give us some of those specific details so that we can set up a really solid funnel in order to, again, get those butts in the seats and then convert them to clients. So without further ado, how is my incredible co-host Cody Sizemore doing today?
I'm doing great.
Awesome.
Absolutely great. Yep. Excited to talk about this because this is it's one of those like back end things that, maybe we're not super prolific at as coaches, but it's also very important to run and maintain a successful business. So
yeah, it's not sexy. No one sees the stuff that goes on behind these scenes, but how you execute this is what makes your business look so good.
Yeah.
All right. So that's why it's so important.
Yes, exactly. So, you already kind of talked about it, but I essentially wanted to talk about the funnel side of things today. So really the main goal with this topic is just talking about how to increase attendance rate, as compared to registrant rate, and then also follow up as well, which will then also increase your conversion rate of getting people to actually book a consultation with you. So that's really the two main goals and benefits at the end of everything that we're going to be talking about.
All right. Well, before you go on, and I know there's a plane going over, but I want to say, so you're saying to me and to our audience, Cody, that people will register for stuff but not actually attend? Does that actually happen in the real world?
Oh, yeah.
I know it does. It happens to me all the time. And I think we touched on it a little bit last week, but I just wanted to remind people today, if that has happened to you, and I know there have been some people in our group who have expressed a lot of frustration and concern around that, you're not alone. This happens a lot. And this episode is for you because Cody's going to help you to increase the number of people who have registered into, you're going to be able to convert those into attendees. Carry on. Mm-hmm. Now that the plane went away, you can go.
Yeah, no problem. So first and foremost, in order to build a good funnel, you would need to either already have or invest into a solid CRM. So for those of you who don't know what CRMs are, it basically stands for Client Relations Manager. And it's a really good way to do things like building landing pages, collecting people's information, keeping your email list in one spot, sending out, email campaigns. Like there's a lot of things that you can do with it, right? But you will need to have a good CRM in order to do anything that I'm talking about moving forward here. Now, there's a lot of good CRMs out there. Everyone has their own, preference on them. And, I'll just tell you that the one that I personally use is called Active Campaign. By no means am I saying that one's the best or the worst. It's just the one that I use and I also prefer. as well. So
which features, just out of curiosity, because instead of having them dig, through everything, what are like maybe the top 3 features that you think people need to look for in a CRM?
um well, it depends on the type of business that you're running.
Assume it's
And
a financial coaching business.
well, right. But I
Okay.
also mean like, what you do in the
Oh,
financial
gotcha.
coaching
Like
business too, right?
online
So
versus, okay.
yeah, yeah. So it depends on that. But I'll at least tell you about some of the things that I like about it.
Yeah.
Number one is that it's like my main hub for my email list. So that's
Mm-hmm.
great. I also do a lot of email campaigns with it. There's a lot of automation things. So, like, if someone were to register for my online webinar through a different site, it's linked up so that as soon as they put in their information in that other site, it automatically populates to this site kind of thing.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
Um, and that's pretty much what I use it for the most part, is events, email campaigns, and just building that list of prospects and clients as
Okay.
well.
Do they have a free version?
I don't know if they do. I'm pretty sure that they do, but I don't know if a lot of the features are available.
Available. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So just for listeners to know what to kind of look for,
Hmm.
it's to
Yeah.
streamline your process.
Yeah. Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. Yeah. So, with that being said, you're going to want a number of things to complement your online event to ensure that A, it goes smoothly, but also B, that you also get the most out of it as a return on investment of your time as well. So, the first thing that you would want to do is you would want to create a few landing pages, which essentially, if you don't know what a landing page is, it's almost like a website, but it's just like one single page. So there's none of like the, menu options, and you can do this page and this page and this page. Like, it's just one single page, right? And
Mm-hmm.
your initial landing page would be, something that you were to say like, hey, if you want to register, click on this link. And then they click the link and they go to the landing page to register for your online event. And on that page, you'll probably have a little bit about like the name of the event, some of the highlights of the event, the day, the time, the benefits of it, maybe some testimonials in there, who it's for, what it's going to do for you, all that good stuff, right? And then of course multiple areas for people to say register now kind of thing. And then, they obviously click that button where it says register now, and then it goes to another page. It redirects to another page, which would be like a form kind of thing, like an intake form. So you'll want to have that as well. So those intake forms. There's basically just 3 pieces of information that I feel is really critical. Some people would say 2. I say 3. So the first one would be your name. The second one would be your email. And the third one that I think is extremely important is their phone number.
Mm-hmm.
Their phone number. And I'll get back to that in a little bit. But essentially, the process would be they click the link to sign up, they go to the landing page, they click a button that says register now, they fill out their information into that form, and then once they fill in that form, there will be an automation that basically redirects them to a thank you page kind of thing, which basically just says, hey, congrats, you signed up. We're happy to have you. Here's what you can expect because you signed up. Blah 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 blah. But I
And
would
how do you spell
also,
that?
yeah, yeah. But I would also encourage a few different, added details to that thank you page for people to take advantage of, and also for you to also benefit from as well. So number one would be a add this event to your calendar button, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you can basically like, create a Google Calendar event, you can publish it, you can copy the link to that, and when they click that button that says add to the calendar, it will then also be added to their calendar. And that's just one thing I think is really important so that people don't forget about it. It's in
Mm-hmm.
their calendar so they know it's actually coming up kind of thing. So
Yep.
that's one thing that I would really encourage. The other thing that I would also encourage is if you have a Facebook group that are active in, or that you're growing, or that you want to get up and running, you can also say, join our free Facebook group to receive updates and additional support, whatever it might be, right? That's
Mm-hmm.
just another way to just help build your community. Have another way to be able to communicate with them and to touch touch base with them and all that good stuff.
And that's also a button that directs
It's
them
also a button.
straight to the group.
Yep. And then one extra one that I throw into the thank you page is, hey, maybe you're promoting your event and it's like 3 weeks out kind of thing. Well, at the bottom of the thank you page, I have, if you're wanting support, if you're wanting like, individualized support sooner, then you can just book a consultation. And there's a button for that too, which will then redirect to your scheduler from there. So that's a few things that you'll want to kind of have in place. Obviously, make it your own. You'll want to do a little bit of research as far as like what are the key KPIs, key performance indicators of what makes an effective landing page or an effective thank you page, whatever it might be. Do some research and then build it, kind of thing.
So just to put a cap on that, in addition to the CRM, you're also going to need a scheduler.
Correct. Yep. And you'll want to have that in general, because you'll want to have a way for them to book a consultation even on the live event as well. So yeah, if you don't have that, I mean, I would get that set up like right now.
Yesterday.
So yeah. So that's basically the process of getting them into your funnel, right? Now, once they're in the funnel, there's more things that you also want to have in place, which one of them would be an email series or an email campaign, right? So I recommend that you have an email that goes out to people directly after they sign up. So that would be like a "you're registered" kind of email. And again, it's just something that says, hey, congrats, we're excited to have you. Here's what you're gonna, get from this. Here's why it's so valuable. Here's why you don't want to miss out. And again, you can include hyperlinks in that email to add it to their calendar, to join the Facebook group, and maybe even include the Zoom link as well. So that would be the initial email that I would send. Then, depending on how far out you're actually promoting this event, it kind of depends on when you actually want to send out the next one. But me personally, I like to promote them for about 3 to 4 weeks before they actually happen. So the next email that would go out in my funnel would then also be a 1 week away email. It just gives them a friendly reminder that, hey, even though you signed up 2 weeks ago or 2.5 weeks ago, just in case you forgot, you did sign up for this, and it's happening 1 week from today. So prepare yourself, clear your calendar if you haven't yet, but make sure that you're aware of it and that you're ready to go, right? And again, include the same things: calendar, Facebook group, Zoom link, benefits, all that kinds of stuff, right? Just worded differently. You don't want to send a copy paste email that's exactly the same as the first email. You'll make it different and something that's a little bit exciting as well.
And you also want to, this is just me throwing this in there as a user, make sure that there's a little bit of draw in and info in the subject line, because some people won't even click on the actual thing. They'll just read the subject line.
Yep.
And by some people, I mean me.
Yep. Exactly. Yeah. The subject lines are extremely important. Thinking about it in terms of like social media marketing, right? The subject lines are essentially your hook. So you definitely want to make sure that it's enticing, that they actually open the email. So good point. The next email that I would say is important, you could do an additional one in between 1 week out and this next one if you'd like to, but I think that even if you just did this one, it'd be okay. And that would be the "it's tomorrow" email. So again, same line of thinking and concept with the 1 week away, but instead it's, hey, this is actually happening tomorrow. So really get ready, kind of thing.
Actually put it on your calendar now.
Right. And then after that, the next day it would be the, can you guess?
It's in an hour. We're excited to see you.
It's today.
It's happening today.
It's today, right? So you would send that earlier in the morning. So for example, a lot of my events happen after people get off work, so like around 6 or something like that. So I would send this email out around like 10. It's within that first hour that a lot of people are in work. they're looking at emails anyways, stuff like that, right? So, send out an "It's today" email on the day of the actual event, and then I send one out an hour before, which would then also be called the. Can you guess?
It's in an hour.
Yep. We start in 1 hour email.
Such sophisticated titles you have for all these.
I know. Yep. And then 5 minutes before you actually start the event, I send out one more that is just simply, we're starting now.
Are you in the waiting room yet?
Yeah.
Email.
Yeah. 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 And the ones that go out the day of, so the "It's today" and also the we're starting in an hour and the "starting now." You don't want to have those emails be full of just a bunch of fluff. That's what like the first couple of emails are actually for. We actually want to keep it very simple so that people, get to the point very quickly, so just say, "Hey, like, it's today, super excited. Here's the Zoom link, here's the time. Let me know if you have any questions. It's in an hour. Here's the Zoom link. See you soon. Starting in 5 minutes.
Here's the Zoom link.
Here's the Zoom link. See you. We're getting started. Like, let's go. It's finally here, And then, after the event, you could also send out a thank you email, maybe the next day kind of thing. Like, thanks for coming. Thanks for signing up. If you came, hopefully you got a lot of value from it. And, you take advantage of the gift that I, presented on the presentation. And if you didn't come, then here's how you can still get some benefits beyond that kind of thing. So that would be it as far as like the actual email campaign that's going with it. Now, beyond that, all of that should be automated. So you'll only need to build those emails one time. And then as the time goes on, your CRM will just send it out automatically based off of the setting and preferences that you actually set up. I personally have seen a massive difference of attendance rate when I also put a little bit of my own time and skin in the game to also reach out in another way on top of the email campaign. And that's where this phone number comes into play. So those last like 4 emails that I talked about, so it's tomorrow, it's today, we start in an hour, and starting now kind of thing. I also double down and text these people. Text them directly. Okay. And the purpose of that is that, just like how you said, there's a lot of people who receive a ton of emails and they may not even see it. Or if they do see it, it'll be in the back of their mind, and then they go, throughout their day and they just get busy and they forget kind of thing. Right. So reaching out to them via text is a really good way to ensure that you're reaching out to them directly, where they're kind of forced to see it a little bit more. Now, there are ways to automate those texts if you'd like. I personally like to do it manually because sometimes people will respond, or they'll ask questions, or they'll say thank you and blah, blah, blah. And if it's an automated thing, like, you don't really have the opportunity to respond to them, but if it's manual, then you can actually talk to them and you can build a relationship with them, which gives it a higher likelihood of them actually showing up as well.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and you can still do things that kind of make that more efficient. You can use like a note where you type in what you mostly want to do, copy and paste that, so you're not typing a link and all that stuff over and over. But I agree. I think it's really more personalized. And I also think that some people are like, oh, I'm totally bugging them. Like I'm being too pushy if I not just email them. If they want to go, they'll go if they click on the email. But I actually think it's serving them well.
I agree.
Because as an end user, and because we engage in stuff like this all the time, as someone who invests in my own coaching, as an end user, there are times when, in fact, it's more times than not, where I'm like, oh, I actually do really want to go to that, and then life happens. Like I've got 4 kids and they all have needs, and that, or my husband calls, or, work call, whatever it is. And honestly, it just goes to the back of my mind where it dies.
Mm-hmm.
It's never to be seen again. But if I have it on my calendar, even if I have it on my calendar, because sometimes I don't always check the calendar if I'm busy doing something else. But if I have it there and somebody texts me and says, we're going to be starting in an hour. Oh, that's right. I actually really want
Yep.
to go to that thing. And now
Yep.
I'm grateful that you took the time to send that to me.
Yep, exactly. Like, don't overthink it. If you start overthinking things, then it's going to hinder your potential and also your progress too. So
Yeah.
there's a lot of people that need the extra nudge,
Mm-hmm.
especially in this topic of money. Like, it's a personal thing to a lot of people,
Mm-hmm.
So just having that one extra nudge could be the thing that actually allows someone to have the courage to actually show up.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah. So that's another layer to it. Now, I do want to talk about one more thing, and then I think that I pretty much would have covered what I wanted to cover as far as like the funnels and the processes and all that kinds of stuff. But that's talking about after the event.
Mm-hmm.
So you're going to have a list of people who registered. Then you're also going to have a list of people who attended. And then you're also going to have a list of people who actually booked a call with you on the event as well. So with the people who booked a call, I would send out a message the next day that just says, hey, excited that you took advantage of this opportunity, really looking forward to it. Enjoy your week or whatever it might be, the next couple of days before we connect, blah, 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 right? Just doubling down, and not making them feel like, oh, well, I signed up and I never heard from him until he called, kind of thing. Like, it's good to keep that relationship. So that's one thing I would do the next day. The next tier that I would go into is looking at the attendees who actually attended but did not sign up. And that could have been for a number of reasons. Maybe one, they had trouble signing up. They wanted to, but for whatever reason, they had technical issues or they couldn't figure it out. So that might be a thing. Number two is that they were just looking for that free information, and that's all they really wanted.
Mm-hmm.
Or number three, maybe they didn't get a lot of value from your presentation. So I send out a message to those people, and I just thank them for attending. Tell them that I hope that they got some value from it, and then ask them for their feedback, whether it be good or bad, kind of thing. Like, tell me your feedback. Let me know, what resonated with you, and also what you think you would have liked to get out of it instead, if anything, kind of thing. Because if you do that, it's going to do two things. Number one is if they have constructive criticism for you, you can learn from that, and then you can improve on that moving forward, right? As long as you think that it's something that a lot of other people would benefit from. The other side of things, though, is it can also open up a conversation. Hey, I really resonated with this. I was really looking for this, but I didn't get it. Well, you could start talking to them and say like, hey, like, that's awesome to know. I know that you didn't end up taking advantage of that gift on the call, but I know that you signed up for this training for a reason. And if you were looking for this thing, but you didn't get it, I definitely still want to make sure that I'm able to deliver that for you or give you that type of value. So if you would like to sign up for a consultation, I'd be happy to extend that gift one more time, kind of thing. Which I have gotten a lot of people sign up that way. So that's the next tier, and then the third tier would be the people who registered but didn't attend, and that could have been for a number of reasons. Maybe they forgot. Maybe they were afraid. Maybe they had something come up with their family, or they got called into work, or their car broke down. They were on their way home from work and they had a flat tire. Like, there's so many things that could cause people not to actually show up.
Yeah.
So to those people, I would reach out and I would say, "Hey, missed you on the event last night. I know that you signed up for this event for a reason, and I'm not sure what happened that you weren't able to attend. But I do know that you signed up this for a reason, and I want to make sure that I'm there for you and that you get some sort of value out of this because you were looking for that value." So one of the things that I actually offered to the people who attended was this free breakthrough session, consultation, whatever you want to call it. On that call, we'll be able to dive into your situation, give you a personalized game plan. And, I'd offered it for free. And, I would love to extend that gift to you again, because I know that you had every intention of showing up, but I don't want life circumstances to stand in the way of you changing your life, kind of thing. And I've gotten a lot of people to sign up that way too.
I was just going to say, I really like the way that you worded that. So I'm not surprised to hear that you have a lot of people sign up that way. The last part that you just said, and I'm going to try to say it back, but if I get it wrong, please just correct me. I don't want life circumstances to get in the way of helping you change your life. That it takes away any of the guilt for not showing up. It's like you're kind of giving them the excuse, right? You're giving them, you're handing them on a platter. I'm sure life just kind of happened. Circumstances took place. So I'm not going to hold that against you. And I don't want that to be the thing that stops you from changing later on. So I really, really appreciate the way that you worded that. And I hope that our listeners take notes on that one.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a powerful one. Powerful one. I don't know if that's the line that gets people to say, yes, I do want to, but I just keep saying it and it keeps working, so
I wouldn't be surprised if it's that line. I mean, it's probably not, if you just said only that, you might not get it, but I think capping it with that, it really does just show that you're not being pushy. You're not blaming them for, you're not mad that they didn't show up, and you're still willing to do something for them. So yeah, I think it's a really great line.
Awesome. So yeah, so that's really what I wanted to talk about. I mean, with the last episode, we talked about the importance of it and even like how to build a good presentation. Today we talked about, the process of leading up to it and even after it, to help with those conversion rates and the attendance rates. So, obviously with anything, there's a lot of smaller nuances to it and details that you need to take, ownership of and do some research on and put the work into. But I think that this is a good framework for you to at least get the ball rolling for sure.
Yeah, I agree. And I'm sorry, I keep muting myself because of these planes going overhead. No, but it's good. I think that you're absolutely correct. If someone is listening to this, though, I know this is a good place to sort of start wrapping up. But I have a few more minutes, and I think you might as well. If somebody says, you know what, I really like this, but I don't know how to even start with understanding some of the verbiage around it. I mean, you did a really good job of sharing, Cody, like, include this button and send somebody here and that kind of stuff, and don't give too much fluff in all of this. I really appreciate that. But if there's someone who's like, where do I even, how do I get people to show up who have registered? Oh, I don't know. I mean, you did kind of talk about some of that, so I don't want to go nuts with it. But I know that it is a problem sometimes for people to register and then not show up. Is there any fun wording or solid wording that you've found, just kind of like what we just discovered before, right? Where you've seen an increase. I know you're really good about tracking your numbers, where you've seen an increase in percentage of people who had signed up and now are actually showing up.
I think that the one thing that caused a higher attendance rate was when I wasn't collecting the phone number as compared to when I was.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
So it has a lot less to do with what you're saying and a lot more to do with where you're saying it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Very good. Yeah. Well, this has been super, super valuable. I mean, I know that if people are wanting to do these online events, which is it's like if you have a business, that's what you do right now. You have to at least have some component of this in your business, because that's how people are learning more about you and they're wanting to connect with you that way. So I really appreciate that you were able to walk people through not just how to do the event, but how to try to get that funnel going. And the cool thing, you guys, is that even if people sign up, don't show up, don't engage with you after you've already done all of these steps that Cody just mentioned today. You've still collected their email. They're still on your list. And if you're continuing to provide content and conversation through that email list, they're going to see you at least relatively regularly. And I mean, how many touch points do we need before someone trusts us? It's at least 7 to 7.
Yeah, I think it's like
somewhere
7 to
between
12,
there.
something like that. Yeah.
And so that's actually, it's not for naught. And you actually are getting some traction, even if you don't seem to have them in the seats at that time. So I just want to thank you again, Cody, for bringing all of those things. I love when you give us that peek behind the scenes, and I know it brings tremendous value to our listeners.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I will end with saying this. If you guys, have listened to this episode, you listened to last episode, and you still have more questions or you want a little bit of feedback, a really good way to connect with me is if you guys were to join that Facebook group that we have. So that's called The Financial Coaches Community by New Money Habits. Just make a post in there, tag me in it so I get a notification, and I'll definitely, help you out as best as I can. So definitely join that. It's a growing group. It's awesome. And we can give you that support as well.
Yeah, very good. Well, thanks everybody for listening, tuning in today. And we will look forward to seeing you next week on a new episode of the Financial Coaches Podcast.
Thank you for listening to the Financial Coaches Podcast, brought to you by New Money Habits and Sizemore Financial Coaching. Submit your questions to our hosts by emailing podcast@newmoneyhabits.com. Be sure to subscribe to be notified of future episodes and join our growing group of like-minded coaches on Facebook. And until next time, happy coaching.